Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on Friday, April 7th, Good Friday. If you celebrate the holiday, happy Good Friday to you all, and appreciate you all being here today. We decided to have this 14th press briefing because there's been a lot of developments over the last couple of days, in particular where it concerns recovery for the folks in Pajaro as well as the rest of Monterey County. And today we also have with us a number of representatives from FEMA who will be speaking about the transition from the local assistance center to the disaster recovery center. And we have other county representatives that will be talking about various operations that are taking place still this day by the county of Monterey. And so as we're managing and getting people on here, if your FEMA folks would identify yourself, that'd be great by turning on your camera so I know you're here. My FEMA people. All right, Tiana, I see Tiana there, and your colleague, your Spanish-speaking colleague, is she on?
Yes, it's Karixia.
Okay, Krixia, I'm trying to find her on here. If she's on, please turn on your camera.
Yeah, turn your camera.
Great. All right, so we want to get started with hearing from our friends at FEMA. And we're asking that whatever we say in English, if it could be repeated in Spanish. We do have a Spanish-speaking audience here. We do have some media from Spanish-speaking media, and they would want to get the information on Spanish as well. So if you could talk to us about the role that FEMA is playing now as the Disaster Recovery Center has been opened in Watsonville, which essentially will take the place of the local assistance center. And of course, how you'll be working with state and local agencies on helping to meet the needs of the people of Monterey County. And welcome.
What was the question? Was that for me?
Yes, that was for you.
I'm sorry. I had a colleague that asked me a question. Okay, so currently at the local assistance center, we have our disaster survivor assistance teams there. So far, since yesterday, they had 103 visitors. They had about 55 registrations. I went over there this morning and they're still working with the community over there. Right now, our messaging is really to register. We're encouraging people to register, come to the local assistance center or the disaster recovery center, which is up the street from the local assistance center, and register with us. Bring your documents. Of course, this is a different disaster, so you're going to have to do a separate application if you applied for the one in December. So it'll be two different applications. Of course, bring in your documents that you need and proof of residency and things like that, and we can help you with your process. And also, we are working on other locations for disaster recovery centers, and we will keep you updated when that happens. Other than that, we've been talking on television, radio, newspaper, letting everybody know that we're here and we're ready to help. We've had a lot of immigration questions as well. We've been answering those as well for any concerns. And again, just to put that out there that, you will be safe coming to our centers. We do not share your information. So if you need to come to our disaster recovery center and have that one-on-one help, please don't hesitate to come. And that's really about it for now. And Karixia, I guess, can talk in Spanish.
Yes, great. Thank you. Thank you very much, Tiana. And Karixia, go ahead and deliver that same message in Spanish, as we do have a number of Spanish media joining us today.
Claro que sí. Muy buenos días a todos y gracias por permitirnos estar aquí para compartir información relacionada con el desastre en California, más reciente declaración de desastre. En el momento, en el Centro de Asistencia Local en Monterrey, hemos recibido 103 visitas al día de ayer. con 55 registraciones. Hoy continuamos en ambas localidades aquí en Monterrey. Es importante que las personas lleven consigo la documentación necesaria, como identificación, si tiene documentación de ciudadanía también, y si tienen evidencia de dirección de su vivienda, para poder comenzar los procesos de la solicitud de asistencia por desastre. Este desastre que se está trabajando en estos momentos es uno nuevo que se identificó con los eventos climáticos que comenzaron a partir del 21 de febrero hasta el presente. Así que si usted, los sobrevivientes, realizaron una solicitud de asistencia por desastre de FEMA previamente, pues debe tener en cuenta de que esto es un nuevo desastre, así que se tiene que hacer un nuevo proceso. Continuamos brindando la ayuda. Es importante que hay 3 modos para que las sobrevivientes puedan registrarse y solicitar asistencia por desastre, ya sea a través del teléfono 1-800-621-3362, a través de la aplicación de FEMA, que se puede descargar en su dispositivo móvil, en donde se descargan las aplicaciones FEMA y ahí le va a aparecer la aplicación, o accediendo a la página web disasterassistance.gov, disasterassistance.gov, y también puede consultar la página de FEMA en internet, fema.gov. En todas las plataformas hay la información también está en español, en inglés, y cualquier asistencia adicional que los sobrevivientes necesiten, pues también se les puede facilitar cualquier asistencia de lenguaje de señas o cualquier traducción. Y actualmente se están coordinando para identificar nuevos espacios para centros de asistencia por desastre, para asistir a los sobrevivientes en los 7 condados en los que fue aprobada la declaración de desastre. Cualquier pregunta adicional que necesiten, cualquier información, estamos aquí a la orden para atenderlos, a los medios de comunicación y también a los sobrevivientes en los centros que se han identificado de asistencia. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, Krista. So I just want to get to a quick question. Normally we wait for the questions to the end, but we do have a question from KSMS Univision, channel 67. With regard to Pajaro residents or any other resident in Monterey County that might not be legal in this country, but does and doesn't have a child that is a resident or a citizen, what assistance can they receive? And if you can address that, that would be great, because there are local nonprofit organizations that are helping to support those type of families. But if you have some suggestions for this question, that'd be great.
Sure. I'll start in English and then Karixia can say it in Spanish. If you are not eligible to register with FEMA because of your undocumented status, we do have counseling assistance, disaster legal services, disaster case management, disaster supplemental nutrition assistance program, and nonprofit organizations that can help when you do not qualify for FEMA. And we also have state and local agencies that can also help you as well to find other resources for you to find when you are not eligible to register with FEMA because of your status.
Thank you.
Sí. No importa el estatus migratorio, más allá del estatus migratorio, cualquier sobreviviente que haya sufrido daños relacionados con los desastres, FEMA viabiliza ayuda de consejería por desastre, servicios legales por desastre, manejo de crisis también, asistencia alimentaria suplementaria y cualquier otro tipo de ayuda de emergencia que el sobreviviente necesite. Esas ayudas siempre están disponibles, no importa la situación del ciudadano o la situación migratoria. Igualmente, también hay otras alternativas que se pueden identificar de acuerdo, ¿verdad?, a cada caso de cada persona. Es bien importante destacar que FEMA atiende cada caso particularmente, individualmente, así que siempre es bueno que llamen al teléfono de FEMA o se acerquen a los centros de asistencia por desastre o a cualquier facilidad que haga disponible el condado para que puedan identificar la ayuda que mejor se adapte a la necesidad de los sobrevivientes. Igual también hay organizaciones que pueden brindar ayudas adicionales a todas las personas que hayan sufrido por consecuencia de un desastre. Gracias.
Great, thank you very much for
And
that.
sorry, and
Okay.
I forgot to mention, Nick, sorry. If you have somebody in your household, and Karixia might have said this in Spanish, but if you have somebody in your household who lives in your home who is a legal resident or a non-citizen or has a visa, they can register under that name. So if you don't have a child, but you have people in your home living with you that are citizens or have citizenship status here in the United States, they can register under that name. So I just want to put that out there.
That's great. I'm glad you mentioned that. That's an important piece of it. Krixia, did you want us to repeat that?
Sí, claro que sí. Un elemento importante es que cuando se habla de que si en la familia hay un menor que haya nacido en los Estados Unidos, que por ende tenga la ciudadanía y por esa vía se puede hacer la solicitud de asistencia. Eso es un caso, pero más allá, adicional a que sea un menor, puede ser algún componente familiar, cualquier componente familiar que viva bajo el mismo techo, bajo ese núcleo familiar, es suficiente también para que se pueda comenzar el registro para recibir asistencia de FEMA. Así que solo se necesita, ¿verdad? Si es en esa modalidad de que se utilice la ciudadanía o la información de algún componente de la familia que sea ciudadano, pues cubre para cubrir los servicios y realizar la asistencia. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much. And also the American Red Cross, Patsy Gasca is here. I just want, Patsy, if you wouldn't mind just real quickly, maybe a minute or less. I know you have some programs that are available right now. You put some things in the chat that people can download.
Yes.
And you're offering assistance to those folks that do not perhaps have documented status. Go ahead.
Yeah, with the American Red Cross, we're not really, we don't discriminate, of course, about whether they're documented or not. The assistance is there for those households that meet the criteria, and it's outlined in the two attachments that I put in the chat. One's in English and one's in Spanish. It's got an 800 number for folks to call. We are also physically at the intake center at Pajaro Middle School. And we also have folks that are taking care of the folks in the shelter at the fairgrounds as well, with helping them get through that process. But we are here for the community and we'll continue to be here. And that's the method of applying for those funds. Again, if you meet the criteria, same criteria that FEMA has. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Patsy. And thanks for providing that. I did provide that same information to the community-based organizations as well as our county staff, so they had it for any questions that they may get. Real quick, and Chewy, I see your message in the chat. I'm going to go back to that in just a few minutes. But in the meantime, my friends at FEMA, if you could look at the question in the chat that I'll ask you to answer in just a few minutes, I'd appreciate that. I want to jump quickly to some operational things in the county of Monterey. We have Kelsey Scanlon, who's the Senior Planner for the Department of Emergency Management. Kelsey, can you give us a quick update on where the operation stands and the activation level of our Emergency Operations Center? And looks like we may have lost Kelsey. Daniel, if you're on, can you respond to that?
With regards to the current operational level, I believe the EOC is activated at a level 2 at this time.
Great. And so what that means essentially is that we are providing full emergency operations system support for all the local agencies, as well as coordinating with state and federal agencies. And we also have with us Laura Emmons, who has been responsible, another planner at the Department of Emergency Management, on the team there, who's been responsible for coordinating and organizing and managing the entire debris removal system over in Pajaro. Laura, good afternoon, and kindly give us a brief update on where things stand with debris removal.
Good afternoon. We have made fantastic progress on both our curbside debris removal program, our flood debris drop off, and street sweeping. Have really made great progress getting a lot of the debris off the streets. We are starting to see a decline in debris, so we are still here, still picking up debris. And the goal right now is to task all residents to have their debris on the curb by April 24th, so we can conclude our first phase of debris removal by the end of the month. And if needed, we will come back for another round based on the community's need. But it's been fantastic progress, and just stressing that April 24th date would be the day to get your debris out on the curbside. Thank you.
Great. Also, Laura, just for the news media folks, our drop-off location will be closed Saturday and Sunday in observance of the Easter holiday. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And reopen on Monday at what time?
8 a.m. So it'll be open. It's generally open Monday through Saturday, 8 to 4. This weekend, in observance of Easter, it will be closed Saturday and Sunday, and then reopen for, again, a Monday through Saturday, 8 to 4, starting next week.
Great. Thank you very much for the update, and stand by for any questions. I will take my hat up to you, and of course the residents of Pajaro for working so closely with you and your team and all the volunteer groups that are out there helping those folks with debris removal. So thank you very much. I want to jump over to Public Works for just a minute. We have Randy Ishii, the Director of Public Works, Parks and Facilities. Randy's been extremely busy, and I know it was a hard ask for you to be here today, but I am so grateful that you were able to join us. And can you just give us an update on some infrastructure issues that are taking place, road reopenings, and also obviously there's been some interest in going back to the earlier disaster this year, the progress being made along Scenic Drive. So if you could just give us a thumbnail look at what things are doing with Public Works, I'd appreciate it, Randy.
Thank you, Nick, and good afternoon, everyone. As Nick had mentioned, we have gone into the recovery phase, and as we go through this second series of winter storms that have affected the entire county, again, countywide, our teams have been working very hard to reopen various roads, which are listed on a road closure and information page for our public to see which roads have been closed. And there were a lot of them that were unfortunately closed because of these storms and damages that we had. So the team has been working to either remove debris or to repair roads and make them passable for locals or for more road users as they can. Of significance, there are only a small number of river crossings that cross the rivers we have in our county, like the Salinas River and the Pajaro River. Ones that have been closed for a very long time now are the Elm Avenue crossing east of the city of Greenfield, and in the North County, across Murphy's Crossing, also known as Murphy Road, which crosses from Monterey County across the Pajaro River and into Santa Cruz County. We are proud to announce that both of those road crossings had the water levels reduced enough, and we cleared the debris so that people can now start using them again and enjoy the ability to be able to go from one county to the next or cross over that part of the river to the other. We're still working on other crossings like the Gonzalez River Road Bridge, the Chula River Road Bridge approach, which has been made passable, and we're still trying to get that repaired. And then thirdly, the Davis Road Bridge, which is still closed at this time, and we're working on plans to get that one reopened. So there's still two of them that are closed and one that is passable. As we talk about road reopenings, we have made good progress on the peninsula out at Scenic Road. And at Scenic Road, that was an area that was badly damaged by the highway action in January, and the road has been closed since then. Over a 3-month period, our contractor and sub worked very hard to do this temporary wall repair to that road. And so it looks like within the next week, by the end of next week, we may be able to reopen that road as well. More to come on that one, but that's how our construction schedule is looking at this point. So again, we continue to work on reopening roads or making them passable, please continue to look at our road closure information page. And since we now have portents that FEMA will come through with various eligible categories of disaster recovery and disaster relief, we're cataloging all these damages for the ability for the county to seek reimbursement. But we can't be everywhere at once. We don't know where all the damages are at. So please contact your office should you see something out there. And with that, I'll hand the floor back to you, Nick. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Randy, for being here. I really appreciate it. And I did put in the chat, everybody, for your convenience, the road closure information and road construction information. Ray, I'll get to you in just a second. I also wanted to jump over. Kevin Drabinski from Caltrans was nice enough to join us. I see you there, Kevin. As many of you may know, there's been a development with regard to Highway 198, Kevin, and I just thought maybe if you can just give us a 30-45 second little bit of information about that. And of course, we posted it on our social media and sent it out to the media yesterday, as did Caltrans. Welcome, Kevin.
Thank you. Highway 198 in Monterey County was closed yesterday, the afternoon of Thursday, April 6th. This closure was due to an embankment failure caused by erosion from recent winter storms. And this location is approximately 20 miles east of the beloved community of San Lucas. Caltrans has put a full closure in place about 14 miles east of San Lucas at Peachtree Valley Road, where 198 intersects with Highway 25. Highway 198 is a rural two-lane state highway which runs from San Lucas to Coalinga in Fresno County, and beyond that across the valley to the entrance to Sequoia National Park. Crews on Caltrans crews this morning were out with a dozer and an excavator. The plan is to employ the excavator to remove pavement for the crews to begin to fill in, with hopes of being able to sometime open one-lane access. We estimate that we may be able to introduce one-way traffic through sometime this weekend. We'll provide updates for that. We have some urgency in making a repair at this location because 198 was also injured on the damaged on the Fresno County side of things. We were going to let Fresno County make their repairs first and wait for ours so that we didn't isolate people in between the two closures. Our road did not hold up that end of the bargain yesterday. And so we have some urgency to make this repair so that folks can continue to get out to the west. Again, we hope to open one-way access on Highway 198 at the location of the damage 20 miles east of San Lucas sometime this weekend, and we'll provide updates as we learn more.
Thank you very much, Kevin, and thank you for getting that information out to us as quickly as you did yesterday. We appreciate that, and we'll continue to keep our county residents and cooperators informed. So let's want to move on real quickly to Pajaro Sunny Mesa Community Service District. There's been a lot of inquiries with regard to the water in Pajaro, and I wonder if we could get an update from Pajaro Sunny Mesa.
Yes, good afternoon. Don Rosa, General Manager, Pajaro Sunny Mesa Community Service District. The current situation with the water in the Sunny Mesa and Pajaro water systems unfortunately remains unchanged. We are still under a do not drink order. As far as Sunny Mesa goes, it would appear that we're going to have to wait till at least Monday the 10th before the final results are in from the water quality sampling that we've done. We've done extensive and comprehensive sampling, and we're just waiting for final results to come back from the lab. A couple items that are required by the Drinking Water Division, SCWRB. And as far as Pajaro goes, we were hoping to share with you today that we were going to be able to lift that notice. Unfortunately, the DDW is a bit apprehensive on releasing the notice with one preliminary report rather than a final report. Again, we were very hopeful. We've done everything that's been asked of us, everything that's required. All of the sample results are in. The latest one was marked preliminary rather than final. So DDW is hesitant to lift the do not drink order. So at this time, and probably through the weekend, we will remain on do not drink and provide bottled water at the Pajaro Park and at the Pajaro Middle School, as well as the golf course for Sunny Mesa residents, Pajaro Valley Golf Course. Yeah, I'm sure that's not the news that we were all hoping for, because we certainly weren't, but that's where we're at right now. And we've been urging DDW the best we can for days and days, and certainly for the last few hours this morning. And sorry, there's no movement there. So we remain, both water systems remain under do not drink the water. Thank you.
Thank you, Don, for that update. Now, yeah, you'll keep us informed, and as soon as you get word, we'll get that out collectively. Marni Flagg from our environmental health has some information that she wants to share. Marni, welcome, and go ahead and make your remarks.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I hate to follow Don's news, but just wanted everyone with permits with environmental health to know to give us a call when you're ready to open up your retail food business or hazmat permitted business, solid waste permitted business, so we can come give you a walkthrough if you need, or any other assistance to make sure that everything is ready, especially that retail food business, especially with the do not drink orders and the water in the situation that it is, that we can have everything flushed and ready to go. Some retail food businesses that sell prepackaged food only, you are eligible to potentially open at this time. So give our office a call. Let's walk everyone through everything, get businesses back open and on their feet. So that's what we're interested in doing at this time. So just call environmental health if you have one of our permits, so that we can get things open for business. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you, Marni. That's very important to get the economy of Pajaro going again. Why don't you put the phone number that people can call in the chat to everybody for the media, so that they can, if they choose to publish that information. Environmental health has been very, very proactive in working with the small businesses of Pajaro. So thank you for being on. I want to jump over quickly to the Local Assistance Center and the transition over to the FEMA Disaster Recovery Center. And we have Daniel Gonzalez with us. Daniel has been in charge of the LAC for the last several days, has done a tremendous job in serving close to 1,000 households at this particular point in time. Daniel, can you talk to us a little bit about the transition? And then, of course, what's going to happen today into Monday? And if you would mind, do your response in both English and Spanish. Thank you, Daniel.
Sure. Good afternoon, everybody. Daniel Gonzalez here at the LAC. As Nick said, we've been open. This is the second week of operations here at the Watsonville Veterans Hall. We just to update Nick on the number of families, we just passed 1,000. We're at 1,040 families served here at the LAC since we opened last week. We are currently since disaster declaration was approved by President Biden, we've seen an increase in activity for residents coming. As our FEMA team mentioned earlier, the DSA is open here at the LAC, and they have been registering residents. So we have seen an increase in activity for residents coming in looking for FEMA assistance, and also some of the nonprofits that are signing people up for the USDA assistance that was indicated by Governor Newsom when he visited the area. So we have seen an increase in that. With regards to the transition, we are going to be transitioning to the DRC. Today is the final day of operations of the LAC here at the Watsonville Veterans Hall. We will be closing at 7 p.m. and Monday we will be transitioning to the location where FEMA is going to be running the DRC. So the state agencies present here will be transitioning there, and some of our county agencies will also be moving to that location to continue to provide services to residents. The DRC will be open from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. And as you have heard already, the DRC is actually open right now. So they are already starting to serve residents in conjunction with the LAC being open here at the 215 East Beach Street location. So just to inform everybody, this location will be closed today at 7 p.m. and will reopen Monday at the DRC location where FEMA will be transitioning, where we will be transitioning into the DRC with the state and local agencies as well. Now I'm gonna go ahead and say that in Spanish. Buenas tardes a todos. Daniel González aquí en el Centro de Asistencia Local. Hasta el día de hoy, actualizando un poquito los números de las personas que hemos servido, personas y familias que hemos servido aquí en el Centro de Asistencia Local. Llevamos 1,040 familias que hemos proporcionado asistencia y recursos desde que abrimos el Centro de Asistencia Local la semana pasada. Como ya lo mencionaba, hemos visto un incremento en la actividad desde que se aprobó la declaratoria de desastre por parte del presidente Biden y de la Agencia de Manejo de Emergencias Federal, FEMA. Hemos visto un incremento y incluso también con residentes que están viniendo a buscar la ayuda de los $600 que fue proporcionada o que ya estaba siendo distribuida por algunas organizaciones que fue emitida por la USDA. Entonces hemos también estado ayudando a las personas a registrarse para eso. Algunas de las agencias sin fines de lucro nos están apoyando en esta tarea. Entonces estamos agradecidos por eso. Quería notificarles también que el Centro de Asistencia Local va a estar cerrando el día de hoy a las 7 de la noche. Vamos a cerrar las puertas del centro aquí en el centro de veteranos, en el salón de veteranos, perdón, de Watsonville, en el 215 de la calle East Beach. Y nos vamos a estar mudando al centro de recursos de desastre que el gobierno federal estará corriendo a través de FEMA en las oficinas de la antigua alcaldía de Watsonville, en el 250 de la calle Main Street. Entonces vamos a estar, las agencias estatales que estaban aquí van a estarse transfiriendo hacia ese lugar, y también algunas de las agencias del condado que están proporcionando asistencia a los residentes se van a transferir hacia esa localidad.
Thank you very much, Daniel. I appreciate that. Okay, then we want to jump over to, there still has been a lot of work being done on behalf of the victims of this disaster throughout the county. And joining us today is Roxanne Wilson and Krista Hanni, as well as Vincente Laura, who have been very involved in equity and working with community-based organizations to coordinate the recovery efforts, as well as donations and volunteers. And so Roxanne or Krista, would you like to give us a quick overview of where things stand with the community-based organizations?
Sure. The County of Monterey has been coordinating with local community-based organizations in both Monterey and Santa Cruz County since the beginning of the emergency. Since we have had standing meetings twice a week to coordinate services and work towards streamlining access and reducing duplicative efforts. These meetings are generally composed of over 50 individuals representing a broad range of agencies, from student services, health, legal aid, and so much more. The county pulled together a small focus group of frontline workers to lift up the voices of those deeply impacted by the emergency. And because of this, we quickly identified the need to replicate and centralize the several efforts that have already taken place all over, mostly in Santa Cruz County, and also at the Watsonville shelter. And we had all decided that locating a centralized community-based resource center in the town of Pajaro to meet people where they are is much needed and desired. So as such, the county requested a 4-sided event tent so we could pop up a temporary community-based resource center, which will likely be placed at the middle school or possibly the park, pending approval. We anticipate the tent will be delivered as early as next week, and we are working to expedite a calendar and communication plan. Once these items are finalized, we'll distribute the information and we'll coordinate with our community-based partners who are already doing door-to-door outreach to verbally invite people to the center and interpret any printed materials that we produce. I would personally like to extend a huge thank you to the community-based organizations for mobilizing their programs as quickly as they did to provide much needed resources to the residents of Pajaro. I do see that Krista Hanni is on, Marielli is on, so I'm going to pause and give them the floor for a little bit to see if they have anything to add. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Krista?
I think Roxanne did a great job summarizing the extensive effort. The only thing to add is, of course, as we're trying to get a community-based resource center, there's been lots of effort to try to have other opportunities for some of the community-based organizations to be part of various efforts, whether they've been supporting at the shelter with some of the services there. They've been helping at the LAC, some of them there for helping the intake. We've had a few of them at the hygiene hubs for different things such as food distributions. And again, it is an amazing community to be part of with the community-based organizations. And we greatly appreciate their grassroots efforts with the community.
Thank you, Krista. Marielli, would you like to say a few words? And if you would, maybe do your address in Spanish for our Spanish-speaking media.
Sure. So I'm Marielli de la Garza. I'm the Executive Director to the Community Action Board of Santa Cruz County, and we have been providing support to the Pajaro Valley, not only in this emergency, but since COVID, actually, and most recently in the beginning of the floods and in the Pajaro River breach. Our support has been working with a collaboration of CBOs that include the Food Bank of Santa Cruz County, that include Pajaro PVPSA, that include Monarch Services, that include Community Bridges, Catholic Charities. There is a triage of over 70 agencies that have come together to help provide support for the Pajaro Valley families. We've provided support as in, doing pop-up food with the food bank, behavioral health support with PVPSA, domestic violence support with Monarch, and our lane, the work that we do in this response has been to help support our indigenous language families who speak Mixteco or speak Triqui or speak Zapoteco. We've provided support, and we've also been part of the economic relief in partnership with Community Bridges and with Catholic Charities and Community Foundations of Santa Cruz County and Monterey, where there's been a distribution for the floods response of about $700,000 distributed throughout the community for flood victims, and that's through philanthropic support. Yo represento a Community Action Board de Santa Cruz County y un grupo de agencias sociales que han estado preparados y están brindando ayuda para el Valle de Pajaro en diferentes formas, por ejemplo, el Banco de Comida, tratando de apoyar y asegurar que hay comida disponible para todas las familias en el Valle de Pajaro. Hemos estado trabajando, por ejemplo, con PVPSA, que es una agencia que da apoyo y servicios para familias que tienen problemas con salud mental. También Salud para la Gente es parte de este grupo de agencias que está brindando ayuda. Estamos aquí, la agencia que yo represento, Community Action Board, ha estado ayudando con traducciones y apoyo para las familias que hablan Mixteco, que hablan Triqui, que hablan Zapoteco. Hemos estado en los terrenos de la feria y ahora estamos en el Pájaro con la madre Dolores Rosa de Casa de la Cultura. Estamos allí brindando apoyo para las familias que han sido impactadas. También somos parte de un grupo de agencias con Community Foundation de Santa Cruz y Monterrey, que hemos estado dando ayuda económica con Community Bridges y Caridades Católicas para apoyar a las familias con un granito de arena que están necesitando ayuda económica.
Great. Thank you so much. And we appreciate all your efforts with the community-based organizations. I also want to add that we have engaged a number of organizations that help with legal services for the community, whether it be rental issues or landlord-tenant issues, things of that nature, just so people know what their rights are. That's very important to everybody that's working on this disaster. And so I want to make note of that. I also want to make note of, we do have Katie Castagna. I didn't ask her to speak, but I do want to acknowledge United Way and 211. United Way and 211 has been a tremendous partner with the Emergency Operations Center, having one of their own staff members in our Joint Information Center, making sure that the community is getting information it needs in English and Spanish and other languages. So again, thank you to the United Way. I do want to make a quick note about donations. There's been a lot of discussion and questions about how people can donate and what the needs are. The needs are tremendous in Pajaro. There's no doubt about it. At this particular point in time, what we're advising people to do is work with the Community Foundation for Monterey County, work with United Way, work with the Community Foundation for Santa Cruz County. Monetary donations will help the nonprofits and community-based organizations do direct delivery of support and aid to these families, in particular the families that we're most concerned about that might fall through the gaps of federal assistance. Also, the big needs are things like new furniture and things of that nature, things for young children, toys that had to, most of the toys had to be thrown away. So new is best because it's the safest thing, and it's boy, these folks, they deserve something new. So anyway, those opportunities are available. If you need information about that, people can call 211, and 211 will be happy to direct anybody with their philanthropic efforts. All right, I want to leave enough time for questions. I do want to go back to a question that was in the chat for FEMA. And the question to FEMA was, does a legal person living in a household have to be a certain age to apply? So FEMA mentioned that if someone is in a household that does have documented status of some sort, that the household can apply. Is there an age limit to that? And I welcome that information from FEMA. Tiana, or yeah, there you are.
Sorry, my apologies.
That's okay.
Yeah, no, there is no age limit. As long as there's somebody legal in the household, they can register. And Karixia can say that in Spanish.
Okay.
Buenos días nuevamente. No es necesario, no hay un límite de edad, siempre y cuando sea un miembro de la familia, de ese componente familiar, que residan todos en la misma casa.
Great, thank you. And I also failed to mention that we do have somebody from the Small Business Administration with us today. We have Marielli Carty from the SBA, who's our Public Information Officer for this event. Do you want to say just a quick word or two, and then we can go to the questions from the media?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so my name is Marielli from Small Business Administration, Disaster Assistance Office. As you all know, we work in alliance with FEMA, in partnership with FEMA. So part of the process for FEMA is that you or the people who is affected by the winter storm have to apply for a Small Business Administration disaster assistance. For us, our disaster assistance is a federal loan, low interest rate. We also offer this disaster assistance for business owners, private nonprofit organization, and also individuals like you and me. So it's very important for people to know that we offer also physical damage disaster assistance and economic injury disaster assistance. If you allow me, Nick, I can do that information in Spanish, please.
Yes, go right ahead.
Okay, so mi nombre es Marielli Carty. Yo represento a la Agencia Federal de Desastres, como mejor conocida como la SBA. Nosotros ofrecemos asistencia para la recuperación de desastre para los negocios, también ofrecemos asistencia para los individuos, para las organizaciones sin fines de lucro. Como ustedes saben, trabajamos en alianza con nuestros compañeros de FEMA, así que es bien importante para la gente que sepa que estas asistencias están disponibles en inglés y en español. Ofrecemos asistencia en forma de préstamos federales a bajo interés. Así que es bien importante que la gente sepa que estamos disponibles. Pueden comunicarse con nosotros al 1-800 659-2955. También es donde están los centros de recuperación de desastres de FEMA. También está la agencia de la SBA para ustedes poder solicitar asistencia. Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that information. Appreciate that. Ray, go ahead with your question.
Hey, this is Ray with Monterey County Weekly. Thank you all for your time today, as always. So just to be clear, so obviously the LAC, the LAC, the Local Assistance Center, is closing up shop today. Everybody's going over to at the federal, state, county level, agency level to 250 Main Street, correct? And does that include the nonprofits that have a presence there right now at the Veterans Hall, like including Catholic Charities, Community Bridges, these guys who have been there? Or is the plan that those folks will all come also go to the community resource community organization center that somebody mentioned would be in Pajaro proper, I believe at the middle school or maybe at a park or setting up there? I'm just kind of curious. Obviously, it seems like those nonprofits have been kind of folded into where the government agencies have been, to date. But it's just to be clear, those organizations will have their own sort of setups at a different location.
Good, Daniel.
So to answer that question, so I think this is a question and part that I think FEMA would be appropriate to answer in terms of if they are accepting nonprofits at the DRC. We at the LAC, we have had a space here open for nonprofits, but we are working because of the experience we had in the previous LAC at one at Spreckles and then following that at the 1441 Schilling facility, is that we were trying to make sure that the nonprofits had enough space to be able to interact with residents, and so that residents could also take full advantage of all the services and resources that nonprofits have available for them. So we were thinking of having some level of nonprofit presence here at the LAC, but also always thinking about opening up a resource center, which Roxanne has been working on since we started this process to establish. And I think they're very close to essentially starting that CBRC, which we are recording, the Community-Based Resource Center, where all of the nonprofits will be able to be present, those who are willing to attend and want to share those resources with residents. But also, and I'll allow FEMA answer the question about whether CBOs will be able to attend, but I have seen that in the previous LAC, after it transitioned into a DRC, there was some level of presence. But I think FEMA is better equipped to answer that question.
Great. And Tiana, do you have any information on whether CBOs will be have space in the DRC at this particular point in time?
I can follow up with FEMA myself. I also had one other question on that. Yeah, I can follow up with them on that. But thank you, Daniel. That's very clear. So that kind of answers my question as far as the idea that those organizations you guys will you're planning to have them have their own dedicated kind of facility for people to access.
Correct.
If that's correct. My follow-up question is for Randy. As far you mentioned, Randy, on the public works side, you mentioned the FEMA assistance that the county would now be eligible for under the presidential declaration, and how that will help, like in January, reimburse the county on repairs. You mentioned a couple projects that you guys are working on, but I mean, what is like top of mind? What are the most like kind of urgent public infrastructure pieces of public infrastructure that have been damaged from the most recent storms that would be in need of federal assistance? Have you guys drawn up a short list of kind of what sorts of roads, bridges, any other waterways, other kinds of infrastructure the county is potentially planning to apply for federal reimbursement for as far as repairs are concerned?
That is a very good question, Ray. And the general answer is that it's all the roads and bridges that have been damaged by the storm that just ranged throughout the entire county. While we're still compiling that list because we find new damages almost on a daily basis, and we add to that list and try to quantify the scope, the extent of the damage, and the extent of cost, or at least a cost estimate to go along with it. We're constantly updating that list. And the bridge crossing ones are ones that we have high on our priority list. We have some slip outs that have occurred that have made passable roads passable because of our efforts, but it's not the same 2-lane configuration or however the road was before. So we're trying to get those back into that same condition as they were pre-disaster. Just some general examples of that include places like Arroyo Seco Road, Lewis Creek Road, Pancho Rico Road, which are in the South County. And generally those are ones that don't usually experience damages, but they did during these very significant magnitude events that we had. So places like that are connector roads, like Arroyo Seco Road, those are ones that we are also focused on and have on our list. And we have the others in the North County, such as Elkhorn Road, that were also damaged. They're passable now, but they were damaged during the event. So we have all of those. And then that's just the road and bridge infrastructure, aka the transportation infrastructure. We have the other damages for things that we oversee, like the county sanitation districts down in Chular and Pajaro, for example, where they did incur sewer infrastructure damages. And because of the emergencies, we had to address them. We have costs that are still coming in for how we repaired those, and ones that there's just beyond our current capacity to bring back online right now, but we're managing, and people are still able to enjoy their standard regular sanitary services and their water services. So those are also ones on our list. Utility infrastructure that we oversee is another grouping of things that we are quantifying, and we're hoping to be able to apply for that FEMA reimbursement funds for this March event.
Thank you, Randy. Appreciate that. All right, we're going to go to a question in the chat. This is directed at Pajaro Sunny Mesa. Don, if you're still there, what is the timeline for potable water given the DDW turned down Pajaro and Sunny Mesa is still waiting on an answer? This is from KION. And I believe Don answered that question, but Don, if you could just give a quick recap on that one more time.
Hi, this is Judy, and the answer to that would be correct. That it is going to, if they want a full final report, it will take approximately 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. We have a question. We'll go to Sebastian at KQED. Welcome, Sebastian, and go ahead with your question.
Hi, thank you. I just wanted some clarification. If you're an undocumented resident headed to the FEMA Assistance Center, how are you going to get help? I think I may have missed that earlier in the presentation. And how will they get help, basically?
Okay, would want someone, yeah, go ahead, Tiana.
Hi, my name is Tiana Suber, Media Relations Specialist. So what I said earlier is that if you have somebody in your household who is a citizen or non-citizen or has some type of green card, they can register with FEMA. So if you don't have any children or any minors or anything like that, but you have other people living in your home that have that legal status, they are eligible to register with FEMA. If you do have a minor in your household, then they will be a co-applicant with your application to register. If you don't have any of those things, we do offer other services, including disaster unemployment and nonprofit organizations as well. And Karixia will explain what I said in Spanish as well.
Gracias nuevamente por la oportunidad. Cuando los sobrevivientes se acercan a recibir, a solicitar ayuda de FEMA sobre la situación migratoria, basta que un componente de la familia posea la ciudadanía estadounidense para cubrir, para realizar la solicitud de asistencia por desastre de FEMA. Si es un menor, pues con la información del menor también se pudiera comenzar la solicitud de asistencia por desastre que cubriría al componente familiar que viva bajo el mismo techo, o sea, en la misma residencia. Igualmente, independientemente de la situación migratoria o no, FEMA de todas maneras brinda servicios de asistencia por desastre, ya sea consejería de crisis en momentos de desastre, servicios legales, servicios de alimentación suplementaria, y también de manejo de casos, entre otros servicios que se brindan independientemente del estatus migratorio de la persona o cualquier miembro del componente familiar.
Great.
Gracias.
Thank you for that very much. Also, just so for everybody's convenience, I just put in the chat, we did stand up a FEMA resources page on the county's incident website. So we do have an Office of Emergency Services website, which has a lot of information about the incident. And I did put the link to that on there. All the resources that we have so far from FEMA are in English and Spanish. And so feel free to look at those documents. They're all downloadable, and they answer a great deal of questions. And yes, the process is, it takes time, but people should not be afraid, as it was said before. People should not be afraid of going to the Disaster Recovery Center and asking for help. No one is going to share their information, and so between the federal government, the state, and the county government, we want to make it as easy for the folks in Pajaro as possible. And then, of course, as Daniel alluded to, and to Ray's point before with regard to the community-based organizations, these community-based organizations in any disaster are a key to a community's recovery. I've been in a number of disasters in my career, and community-based organizations are partnering closely with federal and state and local agencies to help disaster victims get the support and the care and that they need and deserve. And so this is a critical partnership. The county recognizes that, the county embraces it, and so this is important for people to know that there's a lot of doors that help is available behind, and so just to seek them out, and we'll do what we can to help them through the process. We have a few more minutes. If anybody else has any questions from the media, we do appreciate this. We felt this was important. We didn't want to just do a press briefing for the sake of doing a press briefing, but there was a lot that had transpired in the last couple of days since the presidential declaration and the transition between the local assistance center and the disaster recovery center. Any further questions from anyone? Okay, seeing none, we did record this session and we will post it later this afternoon and make sure everybody gets a link. We appreciate your time this afternoon. We thank all our speakers today. And please, if you celebrate the holiday this weekend, please enjoy the holiday with your friends and family. And we'll have our next press briefing on Wednesday at noon via Zoom, and everybody will get an invitation to that as well. Have a great day, everyone.